Yahoo, Prof here. Yeah, Paisley Marie. She's back to sleeping on the bed. Yeah. Well, sorry for trying to pet you. Oh, we're gonna keep it chill. We're just gonna keep the, oh, you got clean more, okay. And we're just going to not turn all the lights on in the room and take a peek. Oh, that should balance out what I picked up. To open a package from CW, you might be able to tell by the orange, and T. We need one of the, here, we'll grab this one. This is an early prototype version of their herring blade holder, with the replacement blades, the modern ones that have little notches on top. Tested a couple products for them. The original plastic one of this being one, and I, of course, managed to break it. And then I was summarily sent a testing one in aluminum, and it's still working to this day. The final one did have a few changes, but hey, see, to all you brands out there that don't watch my material and don't sponsor this stuff, and don't, not that they ever sponsored, I do have an affiliate code though. It's not something I'm just gonna leave out there, but if you do reach out, or a creator code or whatever like that, and you can get a discount. But that's something where if there's something on their site you want, and you've seen this video or one of the other ones where I mentioned it, you can reach out. You know, I'm on various social medias, and Discord's usually the easiest. But yeah, so I'll gladly help test your stuff. I've been doing that for 20 years at this point for various brands. Hopefully I have some good feedback. I don't know, you guys tell me if you're watching my videos. Yeah, I'll gladly, especially if it's a product I regularly use, and I can tell you, if you tell me you want me to actually use it, like, hey, hammer, go hammer things with the hammer. All things until I'm, unless I reasonably can't use a different hammer, I will use this hammer or your product, Give her a proper run for the money. Yeah, what noises am I making, Peasy, huh? Yeah, you looked over here when I was doing this, didn't you? What is that? Huh? What is that? Yeah? Alright, so I kind of ordered a couple random things in addition to what I actually ordered. So, they have, this is their, like, perforated cleaning stuff. So I ordered one clean rag, and yes, there is something cool about it. I ordered one just clean rag, but they have this little, there you go. It's literally just a clean cotton, 100% cotton, I believe. I shouldn't say I believe, I should just confirm it for you all. It's CW, and you spell it out, and T.com. Check out their design stuff, follow their social media. They are one of the let me say, people, places, I guess they're not a thing. They're one of the thing. I guess everything's a thing. That inspired me when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a job and didn't end up doing it. But like, you know, if I was going to go and you know, like get trained, yeah, I don't know, I want to say get trained, but for some reason I always felt that my job should be a thing that I don't already do. I don't know. And then we've kind of inverted it where now my clean rag, $12. I don't know where the description went for it. But either way, simple rag. Keep it around. You know, keep it clean. And you got this little thing so you can hang it up on a little peg on your pegboard, on your toolbox, on your, you name it. Wipe it down. Keep it clean. You know, you'd be like, well, duh. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like I try to keep for my microfibers around here as well. I try to keep. I have the lower end ones. That's for like cleaning like real dirty stuff. Then I have newer, like the better 3M ones, right? Those are what I generally use for monitors and that sort of stuff, or stuff that's more fragile or sensitive, right? And then there's certain things that I will like purposely use a new one for. That's usually the monitor. Especially if I'm doing like a bunch of monitor cleaning and stuff. I picked up 2 more orange dots. These are stuff. Basically, they advertise them for marking your stuff, covering up. I think some of the other ones are for covering up holes. These guys, the 3M, they're considered like adhesive patches. They're highly reflective. So I picked up another pack of those. And I was out of, I think I had 3 to 5 of these left. And I was out of the orange patches, and especially, like, let's say for work with my backpack, these are what I use to, I have one on the back and one on the side at different heights, just because we all have the same backpack. It's an easy way of differentiating, like, hey, that's my backpack. And orange is one of my colors. First off is going to be your yellow. You know, kind of like the top of this abstract pen here. A nice yellow. But nice fluorescent orange. My favorite Tuck XL here is very much in that same realm, right? This is like a hunter orange, I consider it, which is maybe not fluorescent per se. Looks a little bit more red actually with just the OT light on right now. But picked up these, same sort of thing. They advertise them as adhesive patches to like your reflective repair patches right there. You can kind of see the back side of that. I tend to use them more as same thing as these. If I want something smaller and a little bit more discreet, that looks gray until you hit it with a light and then it pops. Just something basic they came up with for their own uses and then sell. That's the sort of stuff that I try to recommend to you guys in the description down below. Things that I've found handy that I show off in videos. Because some of these things, it's taken me a while to either learn about them, find them, figure out I even needed them, etc. Right? So, last thing I picked up, kind of to fill out the shipment, and I meant to order one of these in a previous one, is I wanted to try one of these. It's their gray sketch pad. Now they have a sketch pad. They're all hand bound. I don't know if I can open this and slide it out without wrecking it. I have a feeling I can't. They're all hand bound, very high grade paper. Lay flat, exposed spine. Now there was an original. Then I think the gray came out first and then the grid. The gray was always out of stock. So I had the grid first. Now they have the gray. Depending on how this goes, I would kind of like a gray, and maybe not a grid, but a dot grid. For those that don't know, I am way into the dot grid paper. If you look at that right there, You get the grid, but much more subtly, and you can draw between it much easier for like technical drawings. So if that's possible, and the reason why this is interesting is this is recycled magazine pulp, variant gray. So it's like think of like a newspaper print sort of for paper. Very smooth, very like it's just an interesting, unique notebook, especially with that hand bound side, which I've shown off in some previous videos. You have to go back. I really don't want to open this one up until I use it. The original I think came opened, I want to say, so I went over that one. It might have been like not as tightly done, I think, as well. But the grid one came exactly like this one. So big orange circle on the front. You can write on it like what notebook this is for you. That sort of thing, but should be very obvious. This is something that you could easily throw in your bag. It's a little bit bigger than that moleskin I showed off, but still a very reasonable size. Is even pocketable, I would say. Back pocketable as long as you don't sit on it. Definitely cargo pocketable. But the why this order happened in the first place is this guy right here. Key Wrangler. I saw one of these. I mean, I have. I shouldn't say I saw one. I have many Key Wranglers. Let me grab mine. I kind of went back and forth on this, but I've run this setup for I don't know, at least 10 years now. I want to say, look up when the Key Wrangler came out. Basically, I couldn't back their Kickstarter when it came out, but then as soon as I could afford to, like it was bad timing. At the time of them launching their Kickstarter, I just couldn't back. But then as soon as, because originally the orange one was supposed to be, I don't know if a Kickstarter exclusive or whatever. You can see down there, the Prophecist. And there was a mishap with mine last time where my discount code, which is unique to me technically, got put on as the engraving instead of my username, which is what I had requested. It's somewhat hilarious, but like I'm like, yeah, it's unique, but like kind of not in the way I wanted. So this is what people call my utility belt, like Batman's utility belt. I used to have 2 flash drives over here. Now I just have, because realistically I don't do a lot of like booting off of there anymore. And I realized I didn't for the longest time. And I was having to go to 128 gigs. Now I have this 1 terabyte. Yep, I have a whole video on that. That is a 1 terabyte. It's not a flash drive either. It's a true solid state. Despite it literally overheating its entire existence, because it's always above like 75C yelling at you, it can maintain 5 gigabit in both directions. Like it'll max out USB 3 basically without any problems. That you have to order that one from Buffalo in Japan. I have literally never seen an offering outside of that, so I chose to import it. Well, I was importing one of, I import music all the time, so I just had that kind of bundled along. I keep pry bars. I used to just keep the one. This is a WTF. Wrench that fits. Wag, wag, finger wag. Not that other one, wink. So all of these are wrench sizes in here on the inside. This specific one hasn't been used that much, like that very much. You can see on this side, though, it has been used as a pry bar. That was the main use of this. And often, I would say you don't need a pry bar, but if you often find yourself either using your fingers or something else to pry something open, just having a nice, sturdy, you can go steel if you want. Like I had a Kershaw that was like sub $10, made out of steel. My thing is because these are magnets, steel is kind of a no-go because then it sticks to this. And you might be wondering, wait, well, that's a split ring. Why isn't it sticking to split screen? Titanium split rings as well. I actually had a dedicated, it was part of a dedicated video where I actually had to switch brands because the brand that I've been buying for better part of 10 years, once again, is no longer available unless you buy them in like a bulk of 10, or not 10, I think it's 1,000, not 10,000, but it's a lot of money, and a very large one. Then eventually I wanted a bottle opener. Now technically on the Key Wrangler, this is a bottle opener. You can see that between there and there. From my experiences, using it is kind of not great. I've made it work, but like it is awkward AF because you're actually like using the stuff on here for the leverage. I eventually just got a dedicated one, and it was too short. The hinge was also too far in. So James brand makes a bunch of nice stuff, and their bottle opener was one of the things I was eyeing early on. It just looks quality. All their stuff that is bottle openers uses the same piece, so you know it's gonna be, I shouldn't say it's gonna be quality, but you know it's gonna work. They're not gonna use the same like step design on everything they have that has like a bottle opener integrated unless it works. And I can tell you, this thing, despite being as thin as it is, I have no problem. Whereas that Kershaw one I was talking about, though cheap, steel, and because it's Kershaw, it's high quality. Because this was about down here, you had to do more of like a pull up, push down motion, and that's because they were prioritizing the pry bar. Well, I was already going to carry a wrench that fits. This is now the yellow splatter one. I've had a couple in the past that I've shown you guys off. I don't necessarily, I like it because it's yellow. It's harder to lose. One thing I will say is I have used this end because that's like a bit holder, like it's a 1/4-inch hex on the end there. And when they Cerakoted this, they did not account for the Cerakote thickness, especially with the splatter on it. And you kind of got to wedge it on there the first time on all these things because it's real tight. Because the original one was designed to be the correct dimensions without Cerakoting. If anything, they would, because they were titanium, they would be heat anodized, which, unlike anodizing for aluminum, does not, at least to my knowledge, really change the dimensions. Whereas with aluminum, you actually are stripping away some of the surface and then adding and building, like purposefully building up like rust of sorts, which is sealing the layer effectively. That's why generally with aluminum, you at least clear anodize it. Then there's hard anodizing processors that go even, or processes that go even deeper. This clip, sadly, is steel. I haven't really found a good way not to use this clip for this flashlight here. Now, what prompted getting a new Key Wrangler? Well, there will be a follow-up video once I get it. There are newer. These are from Tactical Keychain. Tactical Keychains, TK. Those are the same guys and gals. I think it's 3 brothers now. That make the Tuck XL, Tuck HD, TK Stash, which is really a Tuck XXL. I like how I went for the one that I have farther away when there's another one in here. So Brad, who used to own the brand, designed these. These are what is it? MTQs? MTKs? You can find generic versions of this now on Amazon. Back when he made them, I would say there weren't really other options. Excuse me. Other. MQR. There you go. Magnetic Quick Release. Rather than like the older style, you used to have to like press a button on one side that would like push out like a ball bearing that's in there. So that's kind of where this is getting kind of redone, is because now for the second time in a couple weeks, I've had issues with, because this is just magnetic and it just pulls off by force. I came out to my car after work and I'm like, huh, that looks like a piece of copper like glinting off the ground. What the heck? Who would have a piece of copper this size? It was my flashlight. Yeah. So the new MQRs actually have the magnets going sideways like this with a like sort of a latch where you have to push it off instead of pulling this way and it being able to come off. You have to go sideways, but the magnet force is actually connecting them this way. I think that's going to be much, much more secure. And that is like a new design where a lot of other brands have since started making these. And this is super handy. Now, mind you, this, if you're like, why would you want to pull this off like that when you can uncap it like that? Well, think about it originally. Originally, this was a flash drive that couldn't be uncapped. So there was a loop on the backside, and it would have been this way, right? So like now that I guess that could not be a magnet. They're just nicely lined up. They perfectly fit in here. 4 of them, my key and my mini key. So I just kept rocking it that way. But this is basically so that when it's down, I clip it on my belt loop, and I can go down here and pull off just by feel which one of these that I want. And oh yeah, and I ended up going with bottle opener because this, I was counting on this, and it's just so awkward to use. Whereas like this James brand one, or your preferred one, is just, and then this is, they have that as a little screwdriver. It's also a different pry bar. I do prefer the wrench that fits, probably just because I've been using it for the better part of 10 years, so I'm familiar with the shape, the size, etc. There's like little grippers on here that were added at one point. And then the last item that is on here is, right now, it's a Tuck Junior that really needs a cleanup, though a lot of the coating is coming off. That's why normally, if you're going to get a Tuck, my recommendation is going to be an anodized aluminum one. You don't generally run into this sort of breaking the edge that you see on the Cerakote. Or if you do, it's not nearly as bad. Either way, perfectly fine. Yellow is my color. That's why it's on here as yellow. I did have a white one on here previously. The white looked way better. Like, for some reason, I got on a kick of having... I used to have copper and brass versions of these, and it would go copper, brass, copper, brass. And that was on, like, the orange one. Or then I went to a white one. Then instead of having, like, all the copper, brass, and all that stuff, I'm like, you know what? I just want clean titanium look. And I've been running this way probably for 4 years plus after that. And it's done me good. But like I said, I've been having issues with that coming off too easily. Maybe not with the, or I've had some where like they'll pop off and then they'll stick to something else's. Well, I think it like this pops off and then sticks to this thing's like that, and then I almost lose it, right? And yes, they're alternating. That's because then they don't see, like they're going to like sync. If you don't alternate them, they want to push against each other, and I want them to, like, this should be nice and compact on your belt loop there. Tuck. This was originally a Tuck. Now it's a Tuck Junior. Tucks you had to take apart to change the blade. Tuck Junior comes out very much like a Tuck XL or a Tuck HD. So you have a nice, you can see there, I use this thing on a regular basis when I don't have my big Tuck. I always want to have a known, sharp, good blade. Why then? Why the pry bar? Well, I'm sure a lot of you have done it, but if you go and if you have a knife on yourself, right, like this, the likelihood, if you don't have a pry bar, that you're going to use this pointy object for prying, and either break it off, because it's very pointy, very sharp, you'll either break or damage the blade, or you're going to cut yourself with prying because you wanted something pointy that could get in there. And what do you want to say? Like, this prevents you from using your knife as a pry bar. And I feel like a lot of people use the knife as a pry bar because it's something that they always carry around, that they have ready access to, that at least for me, this is, you know, like, because I'm used to having it in hand. I know how it feels. So I'm going to, I'm going to grab this, and, like, here, you pop that out. Well, you can get that in there and pop something up. You just got to be a little careful, right? So basically, because I'm changing to the new MQRs, and yes, I'm going to have to change off of titanium. They've been out of titanium for like years at this point, with tactical keychains. I think could go copper, maybe brass. Right there, MQR 2.0. If we click on that, there's the wrench that fits over there. Yep, MQR copper is what I ended up going with. So I don't know if you can tell from that, but they like interlock. So I feel like that's going to be much less likely to come apart on its own. There you go, wrench that fits. Stonewashed, blemished laser. Yeah, $15, dude. Hell yeah. If you don't have one, snag one. Bottle grenade, they've been sold out for like, as long as I can remember. They got bigger MQRs now for like doing whole, like, they're just showing that for comparison. And from what I found out is this is actually the same size. The strength of the magnet is different. So I'm guessing magnet strength is probably going to be very similar to these ones that are from, was it GT Scientific? I don't know if that's right, but same guys that make the pen cubes. But to house that, I wanted to kind of refresh everything, because I'm like, if I'm going to go with new, new magnets and reorganize everything, I want a new key wrangler to put it on. And this is the Jawbreaker one. Yeah, they don't even have this filled out because it's not, like, normally they would either circle it or something for what it is. This should be a titanium one, except it's, I'm guessing heat anodized. They're like inconsistent. It's just got a little pop of color to it. Not inconsistent in a bad way. Just so there you go. That there is the Jawbreaker, and this is why this whole order happened. I also ended up going with the, I don't even know if that was an option, but I ended up going with the silver hardware, and the reasoning for that was, if you can see this, the black hardware just wears down to silver anyway. So, like, especially with the Jawbreaker colorway, yeah, and it's maybe more of a gray than a silver, but it's had a lot of good use. This will come my backup. It obviously won't have my car key. I do have an extra car key. You should always have at least one extra car key. But I'm going to kind of keep it loaded out, or use my secondary stuff. I have enough now where I've gone through and I've kind of swapped out all those at least once, if not more. So I have enough to like make one, and the reason why I want, like, I wouldn't go out of my way to make a second one, I guess, but yeah, it looks about almost 4 years that I had the standard gray one that was wrong. Not wrong, like the engraving was wrong right there. And they fixed it up real quick. I actually helped them fix their Shopify, because basically what happened is, here you can see this. Here it says engraving text. Somehow my promo code, even though I filled out the engraving text on the website, I could show them on my end, because I always take a screenshot or do a print to PDF. I could show them on my end that was correct. Whereas in that video, if you go and watch it, if it's even up, the text there, once they printed out like the receipt, like the packing slip, it had my promo code on it instead of having the engraving I wanted. So let's take a look. Did we get it engraved? Yeah, look at that, an engraved silver. So I'm really happy about going after the Jawbreaker here. They didn't even dot in the color. Normally they do. Normally you get like a blue or an orange or a white, depending on. I think it differs. It might just always be blue. So I don't know if yeah. Let's take a look at Key Wrangler. Yeah, you do not get any sort of color choice for the hardware with the Jawbreaker. There you go. That's all the ones they kind of showed. I think they even said it was like inconsistent, but I saw those. I think they might have come out like end of last year or something. You know, this is the OG in my opinion. The orange with the blue dot. We got the white Cerakote. Mine Cerakote, it's a bit thick. And then we got the titanium black hardware there. It's kind of hard to see there, but it's like white Cerakote. That's orange Cerakote. The white I think the white was added later. And then they have a black one too, which I believe the black one was my first one. I want to say it's I don't know if it's DLC coated or Cerakoted. It's been a hot minute. Oh, here you can see they had black right there. That's brass and that's copper. But yeah, they had a black. And see that up here. See titanium black hardware. That's titanium black hardware though. So black Cerakote. There you go. Boom. So there, I think that's from their Kickstarter from back in the Pen Type B, right there. So yeah, just thought I'd show you guys, show this off to you guys and gals out there. I really do think it's at least for me the best keyring. There's some stuff from Night Eyes that can kind of get close. But for how I want to have a bunch of different things or those magnets lined up on here, and then I can pull them off as needed. It's a very well, I can one-hand this clip, no problem. I do that every day, grab it right there. Very durable. Like here, you can see the minimal wear on this with the raw aluminum. There's just scratching right there. I think that's because it's scratching on like a pen or something in my pocket right there, right? Because it kind of sits like that, right? Or maybe what do you have, like the rivets on your pants, that sort of stuff. Front wise, you know, the black hardware, you can still see a difference, but like I said, especially under where these are, there is a ton of wear. Now I will tell you, if you go this route of the original MQRs like I did, in 4 of them plus something else, or if you didn't have your key on here like this, because say you actually need to take it off and use it on your car, that is really tight. Like I don't know if you can tell how exactly perfect I worked this out, but yeah. So you actually have to take this and kind of run it up there like that until you know, to get that unscrewed. And then you can kind of work it back down there. So yeah, let me know if you guys are interested. You know, check out their stuff at CW&T.com. You can see right there on the Find Projects and People at CW&T.com. I suggest following their newsletter. They do some really interesting stuff. They're very well educated. They've done architecture. They do teaching in their field. They've done, it's not internship, crap. What's it called when they have a studio at a school? My brain is. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to buy anything from them. Some of their stuff can get quite expensive. It is premium. It is a lot of it in this case is like made in the USA as much as they can. Like if you look at they originally started with the pen type A to try, like the whole point of that originally was not to necessarily make a pen. It was actually to try manufacturing something in China, because everybody says, oh, it's so much worse, etc., etc. Then their their design got stolen by the firm. Like, if you want to read up on something, read up on that. But yeah, the design got stolen by the firm that they had hired to protect, like, the company that they paid was a company that supposedly protects your design so that like the factory won't do third shift won't make them and send them out the back door. They won't sell your OEM design to another company, like that sort of thing. And then it turned out that the company that was supposed to protect them from that was the ones that stole their design, and they were selling them before their Kickstarter was done, like, or at least shipping. It was crazy. I've had some feedback on this over the years, because I've used, I don't know, this is probably my fourth one, maybe. And you're like, oh, they weren't. No, actually, I could go back and use the original. That's how most people would do it. But, sometimes you want to change up. It's why people get different wallets, different purses, different pens. I only have a few of those, But there's actually a O-ring in here that kind of retains this so it doesn't go flying out. And that's actually retained within a lip. I had hell of a time getting that to work. And that's been adjusted over time. Then they have also added just a dab of, I don't know if that, like, which Loctite that is, or the style, but it's just a dab on there, and that just adds a little bit of friction to the threads. And besides this, which I think is easier to use, if you do, like, when you do stack it full like I did, there is also a flathead screw available on that side. If you're going to want to be able, like, some people want to take this apart, take a key off, you're probably only going to want to stack it to these threads, in my opinion, because then you just need to retract this, pull the item off, hand it to somebody. So just something to keep in mind. But I think this is a very well engineered product. If you do have a butt ton of keys, you can just line them up if you need to. Though for me, it's more of a keeping my EDC items kind of like all in one place, one thing I can just grab and hook on and head on out. So hopefully we'll be improving this even further with those MQR Gen 2s. And I did buy 5, not just 4, because you saw they were so much thinner because of the magnet orientation changed. Maybe I can fit even more in here if I need to. So hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hopefully we'll see you in that video. As always, peace.